This is the channel you've been looking for. You don't need to go looking anywhere else. You don't need to move along. Let's talk about one of my first loves, which is Star Wars. I do a lot of reviews, and I'm going to do some more unboxings and reviews, but I thought I would like to express my thoughts on the situation with Star Wars right now, the middle of 2018. I know a lot of people in the entertainment industry, which is wide, and I have a thing that I do in there that's a niche, but it counts. And what's happened with Star Wars seems to me, I've seen it happen before, except this time it's on a much larger epic scale, which is arrogance. I'm just going to come out and say it. It's, well, arrogance coupled with and or overconfidence. You see, when someone becomes what they define as successful, I've seen it happen, and I've fell for it too, is you become arrogant and overconfident. And it's not just in the entertainment industry, it's anything that you do. Anything from being a parent to driving down the road. People, I have a diversified background, and I have driven down the road for a living, and people can become overconfident and arrogant. So I think that's what happened with Star Wars. I love Star Wars, and some people think that you can slap Star Wars, the word Star Wars, on anything and it will be a success, or that more precisely, I will love it. That's not true. You can put Star Wars on a roll of toilet paper and give it to me, I'm not going to love it just because it has Star Wars on it. If I'm out of toilet paper, I will love it. But just because it says Star Wars, or my other love, Star Trek, among other loves too, just because it has those words on it doesn't mean I'm going to love it. And just because you make a movie that says Star Wars and it's fully endorsed and it's owned and it's part of the franchise does not mean an automatic success. So what happened with Star Wars recently is overconfidence and arrogance. Just remember, there's a lot of people who work their butt off for The Last Jedi. Whatever you think about it, it is a beautiful, visually beautiful movie. The special effects, I mean, it was gorgeous. I don't like The Last Jedi at all. I don't want to use that four-letter word, hate, but I don't like it at all. And I think what happened was they became arrogant and overconfident that this was going to be a success, and so they can fool around with it and play around with it. And also, I think they wanted to attract a younger demographic, which didn't make much sense to me, because from what I've heard, the baby boomer generation is the biggest one, They're still around. They are, the biggest of the hardcore fans. And, the life expectancy in the United States right now, I think, is 80. So, and they've got money. So, kind of ditching the baby boomer hardcore fans, trying to attract the newest millennial fans, which there's nothing wrong with them, it's just there's not as many. So I say keep your hardcore fans happy and try to attract the millennials, but don't sacrifice your return customers. I also know some stuff about business. You don't sacrifice your return customers. I mean, what do you think McDonald's is so successful? I mean, that Big Mac that you ate 5 years ago tastes like the one that you ate today because it's called consistency, and if it works, keep it working. Now, a lot of people have said that Star Wars, that there's just not much you can do with it anymore. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Because there's if you can't come up with a good idea, then don't do anything. You wait. People that I consult with in what I do, if they're not ready, then don't do it. Wait a year or two. Don't do it unless you're ready, because you'll regret it. And don't make a movie just because somebody's scheduled to come out a certain date and they said, I want these many movies to come out over this many years. That's a pitfall. Arrogance and overconfidence are a pitfall. And don't become an assembly line. Unless you got something that's working, unless you got a good story. Shall we, bring up the word Marvel? I mean, I just watched the Infinity War. I couldn't make it to the movies to see it. So I was able to rent it off of Amazon Prime. It was awesome. Awesome. I'll talk about that in another video, but all the Marvel movies have been good. Even the worst one was good. But it's not because they just slap the word Marvel on it. It's because they've got, to use a politician's words, the right people. But they really are the right people, and they are doing a heck of a good job. They got a plan. And that's another thing in what I do. You got to have a plan. You can change the plan and navigate within certain parameters, but don't throw your plan away, and don't go in at haphazard. I mean, this is millions and billions of dollars worth. I mean, Star Wars. You don't haphazard it. You should. There's where the arrogance and overconfidence comes in. So, anyway, I don't know if it can be fixed. I mean, if I were Mr. Abrams, which, by the way, his Star Trek reboot in 2009, I thought was a hoot. I mean, I've got some nitpicks with it, but I thought it was a hoot. I liked it. Actually, I kind of loved it. Then when they said that he was going to do Star Wars, and I looked at it, yeah, because it's kind of Star Wars, Star Trek. And I don't have a problem with that. He got away with something there, though, an alternative timeline, but I don't want to get off subject. Anyway, if I was Mr. Abrams, I don't know, I'd probably just go crazy. I mean, I'd probably have him find a Jedi temple and a machine or something that could use the Force to bring back people, bring back Vader, bring back Qui-Gon, Luke, Darth Maul. I mean, those guys were good. Bring them back. They come back in this Jedi temple and say, well, hey, we're alive, you know, and they start just fighting. I mean, it's just the greatest. I mean, this is supposed to be the last episode in this trilogy. I don't know, you know, it's 9 episodes. I mean, just go out with a bang, you know, and just bring them all back. And there's a huge lightsaber duel with all of them. Yoda, you know, Obi-Wan, bring them all back, you know, fighting each other. And then up in orbit, there's a lost rebel squadron shows up, and Admiral Thrawn comes in with a Star Destroyer, and they start fighting, you know, got Thrawn in it. Why did they throw away the extended universe? Why did they at first say the Clone Wars are not, you know, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, you got built-in fan base, and you discarded it. You just discarded it. And then some of these folks, I know that some of the fans were toxic about how much they hated The Last Jedi. But you got that, you're going to have that with every movie or every franchise. I mean, the bigger you get, the more enemies you're going to have, or the more crazies you might have. But attacking your fans as a whole is just a horrible idea. That's like me attacking Hollywood for some movies I didn't like. All of Hollywood isn't like that, or it doesn't create crap, you know. You can't blame Disney. Disney makes Marvel, come on. Can't blame Disney. But Disney is trusting some other people to do their job. Kathleen Kennedy is an awesome producer. She's produced some of the best movies you've ever seen, and her husband, Frank. They have produced awesome movies. So she's a fantastic producer. I don't know if she's a great franchise runner or not. I mean, she might be in an area where she's not as effective as she was producing great movies. Mr. Johnson, I think that's where the overconfidence was, and the arrogance, because Mr. Johnson has some ability, of course, but I think he went into it like backwards. I mean, there's this thing called deconstruction, and I don't think that's really ever going to work with some folks out there. I mean, it's really simple. You give the fans what they want. That's it. If it's more of the same, they give more of the same. I mean, I go back to McDonald's, you know, and I used to own a restaurant, you know, I know. You don't go messing around with the product. You don't change the product. People come in expecting something, and it's not the same. They get pissed off, or they just don't come back. I mean, they lose faith in you. You have a good product and it's selling, don't mess with it. Just keep it. So, Mr. Johnson has some ability. I'm not going to talk bad about him, but I think he made some poor decisions, probably out of arrogance, probably out of overconfidence. And it did irritate me when that line that Kylo Ren says, "Get rid of the past, kill it if you have to." That's a horrible thing. It's horrible, because this country, the United States, has a problem already with taking their elderly and putting them away somewhere and forgetting about them. That's horrible. And there's the other thing about, you know, people who don't listen to history are doomed to repeat it, and that's true. It's so true. I mean, you can see it going on now in politics, in the whole world. They keep repeating it. You could save yourself, Mr. Johnson, and anybody. We can save ourselves so much suffering if we simply learn from history. Save ourselves some time. and money, So Mr. Abrams, JJ, I've got faith in you because you've done some good stuff. I mean, Lost, Fringe, some really good stuff. Star Trek, the first one, not the second one. No. The second Star Trek, Into Darkness, kind of reminded me of The Last Jedi. It's just great to look at, but the story was like limp. It wasn't there. It's like they were tired. They couldn't do anything, but they had to make a movie. So, got to have a plan, So I hope Mr. Abrams has a plan, because I'd heard that Johnson had written the movie before The Force Awakens come out. I mean, if you do that, then wait and see how the first one works out, and and fit them together at least. The Last Jedi didn't fit with The Force Awakens hardly at all. It's kind of messy, Rogue One was awesome. Force Awakens brought back what I wanted, and I wanted the original cast, especially Mark Hamill. When I was 12 years old, I saw Star Wars, which is called A New Hope now, and I was 12 years old. On Stranger Things, those boys, the 12-year-old boys, that was me in 1977. And it wasn't really cool to be a nerd or a geek back then. Not like it is today. Back then, it was, wasn't cool. They call you things like Space Cadet, and it wasn't, it was derogatory, believe me. So, but anyway, that's what I was. I tended to escape into TV and movies because of what was going on in my home life, and I identified with Luke Skywalker because I was literally a farm boy, literally, in real life. And also, it didn't hurt that Mark Hamill married a girl from my hometown. He even came by one of our schools one time and talked to the school back then, in the late 70s. And Mark Hamill's always been cool. It's Mark Hamill. It's Mark Hamill. I mean, he was on Jay and Silent Bob. I mean, he's always been cool. So anyway, I fell in love with that franchise in the movies, and I have an investment. George Lucas made, and along with other people's help, made something that has turned into a mythology, and all those characters, they're in our lives. I know people that name their kids after imaginary characters in pulp fiction. So it seems like it started off fantastic, and then The Empire Strikes Back I liked it a little bit less, and Return of the Jedi was good. I loved them all, but it was a little bit less. I don't know. It's like George Lucas started off with something fantastic, and they're awesome, but A New Hope will always be my favorite, I'm pretty sure. And then the prequels came. I love the prequels. Jar Jar Binks got on my nerves. And some of the humor that I remember in the first of the Revenge of the Sith was the droids. Just, it just didn't land for me. But the prequels to me are eye candy. But I enjoy them. I mean, they're beautiful movies. They're really busy. But George Lucas had the ability to do anything he wanted with special effects, and he did a lot. You know, there's an old saying, work of art is never finished, it's merely abandoned. And I think when you are into something that big, it's hard to abandon it and walk away when it's fine. You know, less is more sometimes. George Lucas did a lot in those movies. But, I mean, still I love him. Force Awakens comes out, and he brought the original cast back. That's what I wanted. Except for Lando. I just don't understand that. But anyway, we got the original cast back, and Luke Skywalker's in the last 5 minutes. That's what everybody came to see, was Luke. Well, all of them, because they wanted to see Luke, and they wanted to see Luke take that damn lightsaber and have a duel with somebody. So I gave that movie a pass. You know, yeah, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. But then Rogue One came along. I loved it. I just freaking loved it. So I went into The Last Jedi thinking this is going to be awesome because I was stoked because of the last movie. The last movie tends to reflect on the next movie, you know. So I'm going to Last Jedi. I paid $100 to take up my family, and I come out of there and I'm thinking, Ryan Johnson, you got me. You got my $100, but it won't happen again. I did not like that movie at all. You know, and Carrie Fisher, she'd passed away. I think she passed away the night I went in to see Rogue One. And why they didn't, you know, make it to where she passed away in the movie too, when she got blown out of the Star Destroyer. I just don't understand why he didn't do that. Wow. So Mr. Abrams has got a lot of work to do. I haven't went and seen Solo. I'm not boycotting it. I didn't have time to go see it. I didn't have time to go see Infinity War, and I really want to go see Infinity War. The Solo, I was like, yeah, I don't know. Last Jedi sucked, so I'm not interested in going to see Solo. It might suck too. We go back to McDonald's, you know. That Big Mac didn't taste like the Big Mac that I was used to, and now I don't know what to expect from you. That's really how simple it is. It's really how simple it is. You make something good on a consistent basis. If you can't come up with something good, you wait until you got something good. That's how simple it is. That's it. That's it. All the Star Wars movies I loved. Force Awakens, it's okay. Rogue One was awesome. In fact, I put Rogue One underneath A New Hope for myself. Then Last Jedi, I did not like at all. So Solo, no, I don't know. You know, you're messing with my karma, as Flynn would say, and I can't trust you anymore. Not Disney, Lucasfilm. I can't trust you anymore. So why don't you regroup and just start making good stuff and listen to the fans. The fans aren't going to lie to you. They're going to tell you. They're telling you what they want. You want to make money? Do what the fans are asking you. It's that simple. You know, there's a game that I thought was awesome on Nintendo 64, I think. Yes. Called Rogue Squadron. It had several different missions that you go, and it was a simulator type thing. I love that game. It's the only game I still own. I don't have time to play it, but they had different missions that were for fun. You take 4 or 5 of those missions and write a human story around it. There's a great movie. That's kind of what Star Wars was. I mean, it had different settings and different missions. So, Mr. Abrams, I know you're not going to watch this, but I've got faith in you. I still have faith in you. Just make a good movie. In fact, split it in 2 if you want to. Lord of the Rings did it. Twilight did it. You know, just make a good movie, even if you have to push it back a year or 2. I mean, it is really quality is what we're talking about here. We're talking about a franchise that is, you know, the biggest movie franchise, I think. So that's my thoughts on Star Wars. I've got a lot more on Star Wars, I'm sure. And I've got some thoughts on Star Trek too, which I'll be putting up a video of that too. Thank you for watching, and I enjoy doing this, so I'm going to keep doing it. And that's what it's all about. This other thing that I do in my life, I enjoy doing that. If you enjoy it, you're going to be consistent at it, right? If you enjoy it, you're going to care about it, and you're going to hopefully do a quality job. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.